Hello, everyone. This is James Song here. Welcome back, everyone, to my video. Today, we are covering writing section of the Toefl test. And in particular, as you can see on the screen, we will be covering question 1 of 2 in the writing section. So we are doing integrated writing. Most of you watching this video by now probably be familiar with how to do integrated writing in terms of its directions and instruction, but some people may be not very familiar. It may be first time watching this video, so I'll just quickly run through the directions and question and format of this question, okay? Integrated writing. So directions, you have 20 minutes to plan and write your response. So you have 20 minutes to write an essay. Your response will be judged on the basis of the quality of your writing. So I will create another video that explains how the writing section is scored. There is a specific rubric that ETS has made to score this Toefl test. So I will be covering that in another video. But basically, it's the contents and development and grammar, okay? And on how well your response presents the points in the lecture. So points in the lecture here refers to points in the listening passage, okay? And the relationship to the reading passage. So, we need to summarize the points in the listening passage, and also we need to compare and contrast, what is that points relationship to the reading passage also. Okay, so question pretty much self-explanatory. Summarize the points made in the lecture you just heard. So exactly what I explained. And it gives us a little bit more guide on the relationship to the reading passage, okay? Explaining how so points in the listening, cast doubt on the points made in the reading. So now we know points made in the listening passage will be casting doubts on the points made in the reading passage, okay? And we have reading provided for us to summarize. And we are given extra 3 minutes to read the passage and make necessary notes. But the reading passage, as you know, will not disappear after extra 3 minutes we are given. The reading passage will be available until the end of this task. So you can always look at the reading passage on your left of the screen like so, while you are writing the integrated writing test. But the listening, more important part and perhaps more difficult part, will be only played once, right? So as I said, pretty much every single lecture, in order to listen to the listening passage really well and write the perfect notes, we need to train ourselves to be able to read the reading passage, hopefully in 3 minutes, and also make the perfect notes within 3 minutes if we can. And I will do live demonstration in another video. Today, we'll just go through the reading passage, sentence by sentence, to be thorough, okay? Yeah, so we're given extra 3 minutes to do that if we want. And after 3 minutes, listening passage will be played automatically immediately after that. And after listening passage is finished, then stop clock will be up, and it will count down from 20 minutes. So we need to start writing and typing and finish this task within 20 minutes. Okay? Yeah, let's go. So let's read the reading passage and make necessary notes. First part. In 1912, a bookseller named Wilfred M. Voynich acquired a beautifully illustrated handwritten book. Okay, so this guy got the book. Written on vellum is a material that was used for writing before introduction of paper. So probably he found it 1912, but it's a while back that before introduction of paper. So this guy got this book, okay, in 1912. It must be a really old book, okay, before paper was available. The Voynich manuscript, it was called, resembles manuscript written in the 15th, 16th century. I told you, okay, so probably he discovered, 400 to 500-year-old manuscript. Good for him. However, but it is written in a completely unknown script. Okay, so unknown language, unknown code. Okay, today, even now, okay, no one has been able to decode the script and understand the book's contents. Okay, so it's written in some kind of code, some kind of script, some kind of language that we do not understand. All right. So what? Several theories. Okay. So it's going to give us 3 theories: body 1, body 2, body 3. Several theories has been proposed to explain the origin of the manuscript. Okay. So explain the origin of the manuscript in the reading passage, and listening passage will rebut each and every theory that is going to be presented here. Okay, so if we only have 3 minutes, only note we really need to write down, because we can look back at the reading passage anytime. The thesis is several theories have been proposed to explain the origin of the Voynich manuscript. This is enough, because we can look back at the reading passage anytime we want, and basically the listening, when we get to the listening passage, the thesis of the listening will be nothing more than lecturer in the listening disagrees with every theory that reading passage presents. Okay, so that would be the only note taking I would do for introductory paragraph. Okay, all right. Okay, I mean, you could write like real briefly, Voynich acquired a book called VM, Voynich manuscript. It's written in a noun script, and several theories has been proposed to explain the origin, right? But, it's not necessary to write that long, because, reading passage is not going to disappear. All right, good start. Nothing hard. First body, one theory. What's the first theory of the origin? How did this manuscript, this book, has come about? One theory is that manuscript is a genuine work on some scientific or magical subject composed in a complex secret code. Okay, so one theory is that it's a genuine work 400-500 years ago of some scientific or magical subject in a complex secret code, that in purpose, so nobody can understand. They created this, some kind of like a secret code. Only a few people or specific people can understand, and it's on some scientific or magical subject. Okay. All right. Okay. So Anthony asked him, who is he? A 16th century physician and botanist has been identified as a possible author. Okay. So he may be the possible author, so original author. Okay. Since many plant illustration in the Voynich manuscript are quite similar to those in Ascham's book. Okay. Okay. This is a bit puzzling because, like, in introduction paragraph, it clearly said nobody can understand the code. So, you know, I'm doing a critical reading here. How would you know? Many plant illustration in the Voynich manuscript are quite similar to Ascham's book, but, you know, my job is not to, you know, criticize the question. Just, you know, we just need to solve the question and get the score. So maybe they understand part of it. Okay, it didn't say they did not understand anything at all. So yeah, I'll let that go. Okay. But anyway, since many plant illustration in the Voynich scripts are quite similar, okay, to plant illustration in Ascham's book. So, you know, Ascham must have written this. You know, Ascham wrote this because it's quite similar to his book. So another book he wrote. So probably he wrote this book as well. Okay. So the other book he wrote is A Little Herbal. So we're trying to say plants illustration in Little Herbal is quite similar to Voynich manuscript's plants illustration. Okay. So we embody one. I'll just write one here. Okay. Genuine work on some scientific or magical subject written in complex secret code, right? So that may be the origin. And the possible author is Anthony Ascham. Okay, I'm just writing notes, imagining I'm writing this in 3 minutes, okay, which I'll show you live demonstration in another video or other videos to come, okay? And because it's quite similar, so plants illustration is quite similar to Ascham's book, Little Herbal, right? Okay, so there should be the topic sentence, major detail here, and minor detail here, okay? All right, so first theory is maybe it's a genuine work on scientific or magical subject written in complex secret code. Possible author maybe Anthony Ascham, because plant illustration in Voynich manuscript is quite similar to Andrew Ascham's book. So he must be the author. So Andrew Ascham must be the original author. Okay? Understood? Cool. Moving on, second body. According to some other theories, okay, second theory, another theory, manuscript, the book, the Voynich manuscript, is really a fake. Okay, it's a fake. It's nothing useful or valuable. It's just a lie. Fake. So it's not a genuine work on certain subject. It's just a fake, and its text has no real meaning. Okay, why was this written then? You know. Okay, so it's a fake. So it's in this unknown code, but it's a fake. It doesn't mean anything. Okay, let's read a little bit more. For example, it has been proposed the manuscript was created by Edward Kelly. So exactly the same structure as the first body paragraph, which is good. Okay, so second body, the Voynich script is just a fake and without any meaning. And possible author is Edward Kelly. Okay, who is he and why? 16th century personality who extracted money from nobles across Europe by pretending to have magical powers. Okay, so he was the conster. He was a liar. You know, he was shady liar that pretended, as written here. Okay. Okay, pretended to have magical power to, you know, take money from nobles. That's what he did. So we can kind of relate that he has written a fake document which has no real meaning to show the nobles, hey, look, this means like this, I have a magical power, I'm the author, something like that. You know, we need to read the next sentence, obviously. But let's just define who he is. Edward Kelly, okay, who extracted money from nobles by pretending he had magical power. So he just lied, basically. Okay. So he wrote this book. Why? Kelly may have created the manuscript, written the manuscript as a fake. Yeah, it was really a fake document, has no real meaning. So he could have written this manuscript as a fake magical book to sell to wealthy people. Okay, so it's fake, has no real meaning, but he was pretending this is like a secret magical document. You can also get the magical power like me to make money from these wealthy people, right? Okay. He used a made-up alphabet in a completely random order. Okay, minor detail. So it's a fake. He just made it up. Has no real meaning. It looks like a book of magical secret, but there's no meaning for underlying text. So, you know, we don't really need to write anything down here because we understood, okay? And it's a minor detail. So, you know, I wouldn't write anything from here. I would just remember. And also it's a minor detail. So yeah, my note might finish here. If I wanted to finish writing notes in 3 minutes of everything, or just say, you know, just this part, I'll write 2-3 words to remind myself when I listen to the listening passage, right? Kelly may have created the manuscript as created the Voynich manuscript, okay, as fake magical book to sell to nobles, sell to wealthy people to make money. Okay, yeah, that's all I would write. Let me look at the notes and interpret what I've written. So second theory is that it is a fake document without any real meaning. Maybe possible author is Edward Kelly, who took money from nobles by pretending he had magical powers. He may have created this book to pretend he had fake magical power to sell this book to make money from wealthy people. Yeah, perfect. Last paragraph in reading. Another theory is that, so third theory we're getting to. Manuscript is actually a modern fake, okay? So it's a fake, okay? Modern fake. So, you know, if Edward Kelly wrote this book, it's at least 500 years old, right? 16th century, so 1500s, right? 400 years plus. So another theory, the third theory, is that is an actual modern faith. Okay, all right, created by Voynich himself. So he wrote this book and did not tell anybody. So it's a fake book. And he said, look what I found. I found 400 years old book. Look at this. Yeah. And pretended, just lied to everyone, right? So third theory is that the book is actually written by Voynich himself, but it's a fake. He didn't tell anybody. Why? As an antique book dealer, antique obviously means very old, okay? So he was an old book dealer. Voynich certainly had the knowledge of what old manuscript books should look like. Okay, so he had a knowledge of what really old book should look like, meaning he could have made a fake one, right? Could have created a fake one. There you go. Okay, we're reading really well. we are kind of, getting the next part of the sentence exactly right by our thinking, right? Perhaps, maybe, Voynich's plan was to sell the fake as a mysterious old book. He wrote it. He didn't tell anybody, look, I found 400 years old book. If he received attractive offer, because what was his job? Old book dealer. So maybe he was trying to sell it at an expensive price, right? So body 3 also shares the same structure as previous 2 body paragraph, which is good. So Voynich manuscript may be a modern fake, and it's written by Voynich himself, right? That would be a bit of comedy, right? So as a antique book dealer, we don't need to write that down. He kind of knew what to do. He had enough knowledge to create what it looked like an old book, right? So maybe I just wrote, he had enough knowledge as a antique book dealer, knowledge to create old book, or Voynich manuscript VM. Okay, because we can read it, right? Like it doesn't disappear. We can keep the reading passage. So we just strictly writing down something to prepare ourselves to listen to the listening passage better, which will be only played once, right? That should be the focus, and understanding the reading passage, of course, right? So he had a knowledge to create the whole book, right? And minor detail, maybe he had a plan to sell the fake book if he received attractive offer, okay, to make a lot of money. He wished, maybe. Okay, so third body paragraph, I should say. Voynich manuscript may be a modern fake created by Voynich himself, because he had enough knowledge to create Voynich manuscript as a antique book dealer. Maybe he was trying to sell this fake book if he received good offer, if somebody wanted to buy at an expensive price. Okay, so let's just strictly look at the reading passage only and make sentences to see whether we understood the reading passage completely. Okay, so introduction. There are several theories to explain the origin of Voynich manuscript. First theory is it's a genuine work on scientific and magical subject in a complex secret code, maybe created by Andrew Askham, because plan illustration in Voynich manuscript is very similar to his book. Second theory is that it's just a fake book, has no real meaning, created by Edward Kelly. He was the guy who was taking money from nobles by pretending, lying he had magical power. So he wrote this book to, sell it to the nobles, saying that he had magical powers. This book, if you read this book, you can get magical powers just like me, something like that, right? And the third theory is that it's a modern fake written by Voynich himself because he had enough knowledge as old book dealer to create such book. He had ability to do it. Maybe his plan was to make a lot of money by selling this old fake book. Perfect, job done. So first part of our task has been done, I think, perfectly. So second part, as I told you, is the listening part. Okay, guys, let's listen to the listening passage and try to write the perfect notes simultaneously on this part by comparing, contrasting from the reading passage on your left, hopefully. Okay, so here we go.
Now listen to part of a lecture on the topic you just read about.
None of the three people mentioned in the reading was probably the author of the Voynich manuscript. According to the first theory, whoever wrote the Voynich manuscript thought they were conveying information so important or so powerful that they used a special code to keep it secret. That doesn't fit what we know about Anthony Ascom. Ascom was just an ordinary physician and scientist whose books didn't contain any original ideas. For instance, the little herbal mentioned in the reading was a description of common plants based on other well-known sources. So, given what we know about Ascom, his books, and the kind of knowledge he had, it seems unlikely he was the author of such an elaborately coded secret document. Second, although Edward Kelly was notoriously good at tricking people, it seems unlikely that he created the Voynich manuscript as a fake magical book to sell to some rich people. You see, the creator of the Voynich manuscript took a lot of care to make the text look like a real code. But people in the 16th century were quite easy to fool, so it was not necessary to make something this complex. If Kelly wanted to create a fake for money, there's no reason he would have put so much work into creating a manuscript like this when a much simpler book would have suited his purpose just as well. Third, we've been able to date the manuscript materials using modern methods. Both the vellum pages and the ink on the pages, both the vellum and the ink are at least 400 years old. That rules out Voynich as the author. If Voynich wanted to create a fake, maybe he could use vellum pages taken from some old manuscripts. But where would he get 400-year-old ink? So, it seems the manuscript was created centuries before Voynich obtained it.
Okay, how much did you get it? I think I've done a pretty good job. So let me go through this with you, just like how I do other, listening passage, exactly the same. So introduction, we'll listen to the listening passage one more time at the end, okay? So introduction, paragraph, the author, the lecturer in the listening said, none of the proposed, probable or possible authors from the readings are not likely to be the author of Voynich manuscript. That's the thesis of the listening passage. So it's directly rebutting, casting doubts that, first theory is maybe Andrew Ascom was the original author. The second, body was proposing maybe it was Edward Kelly. And the third body was saying maybe Voynich himself was a possible author. Listening passage is saying that, they rebut all of that theories. Okay, so none of the author presented in the reading passage was probably the author of Voynich manuscript. Okay, so I mean, you cannot write everything down. Expect that you have to remember some things that you won't be able to write down in full, even in note taking, because listening passage is quite fast. Okay, so that was the thesis. And first, it wasn't very direct. It was quite indirect. So we're going to change and synthesize the paragraph to our liking when we write the essay, write the answer in full. But, we have no choice but, write in kind of the order that listening gives us, because we have to, we cannot lose any part in the listening. So it was saying that, considering information was very important and powerful, so that they wrote it in a secret code, like the reading says in the first body paragraph. Andrew Ascham cannot be the guy, cannot be the author, considering, they were trying to put some important information in secret code. Considering that, Andrew Ascham cannot be the author, okay? Because, so that would be the topic sentence we'll definitely use. This part, not sure, because it's quite indirect, okay? So topic sentence is Andrew Ascham is probably not the author, because he was just an ordinary person. He wasn't, he wasn't a special person. And his book didn't really have any original idea. Okay, so it cannot be such an important and powerful book that had to be written in secret code, because he was just an ordinary guy and his book did not have anything important or original, right? For example, so minor detail, so second detail, so topic sentence. Detail 1, detail 2, his book, Little Herbal, it was nothing more than a description of common plants from other sources. So he didn't have any original idea. So it's major detail 1, minor detail 1 in this case. Okay, 2 details. Therefore, Andrew Ascham is probably not the author. Okay, perfect. Second, also indirect, okay? Edward Kelly was very good at faking, tricking people. He's probably not the author. The reason is it took great care. So, they put a lot of effort, a lot of work. So the code is really complex, right? So the author, whoever he is or she is, they put a lot of care, means they put in a lot of work to, make it look like it's a real code, not the fake one. But in the 16th centuries, it was easy to fool people, meaning you didn't have to put this much effort to fool people. It's way too complex if the purpose was to fool people, to make some money. It looks like, the author seems to put too much effort into creating this document if, someone wanted to just trick people, right? And if Edward Kelly was the author, this is totally unnecessary, okay? Because he could have just done less work, not like, Voynich manuscript. He could have just made simpler book with a lot less effort. He could have achieved his objective by fooling people to sell the book to make money. So it doesn't make sense that he would put so much effort into writing this book that looks like a real code, right? Because he didn't have to, because his purpose was just to fool people, and it was very easy to fool people at that time. Okay. All right. Third body paragraph. We can date the Voynich manuscript, meaning we can actually, we have technology to know when this book was written by knowing how old is a vellum the manuscript was written on instead of paper, and type of ink it was used on vellum. Okay, we can know how old is the vellum and the ink on the manuscript. We can do that, and we dated it, and it turned out the vellum, so the material they used instead of paper, and the ink they used, all right, it came out to be at least 400 years or older, so very indirect. This claims that Voynich is not the author. Okay, this is the evidence that confirms Voynich is not the author. Okay, so Voynich is not the author is a topic sentence. Okay, because the vellum and the ink of the manuscript is at least 400 years old. Because he wouldn't have been 458 years old. People cannot live that long, right? And the detail is the vellum, he could have got it from other book, right? And used it, but this is the real reason, most important detail. Okay? There's no way for him to get ink that is 400 years old or older to write this book by himself. It's impossible. You cannot get the ink this old. The passage is saying. So this rules out Voynich as the author. Okay, so the document must have been written 400-500 years before Voynich was around. So nobody can live 400 years old, right? Because he cannot get ink that old, so it must have been written centuries before, so hundreds of years, 400 or 500 years before the Voynich was born. Okay, so topic sentence, detail 1, detail 2, right? So let's go through it real quick, okay? So the listening passage says, none of the author proposed in the reading passage is probably the author of Voynich manuscript. First reason is that Andrew Askham is probably not the author, because he didn't have any original idea in his book. Plant illustration in his book was just description of common plants from other sources. So he cannot be the author. Second, Edward Kelly cannot be the author because the book took a lot of care, but it was easy to fool people back then. So it wouldn't have been necessary for him to, make this book to trick people, right? He could have wrote a simpler book to trick people. Third, considering vellums and ink are at least 400 years old, so topic sentence, Voynich did not write this book because he could have got vellum from other old book, but he cannot get the ink that is 400 years or older. It's impossible. So book must have been written centuries before Voynich was alive. Therefore, Voynich is not the author. Okay, perfect job, right? So just go through the notes and have a listen to the listening passage for one last time. And then we're going to move to step 3, looking at the model essay, to make sure, confirm how the perfect answer is written for you to work towards. Okay, so let's listen to the listening passage one more time. Here we go.
Now listen to part of a lecture on the topic you just read about.
None of the 3 people mentioned in the reading was probably the author of the Voynich manuscript. According to the first theory, whoever wrote the Voynich manuscript thought they were conveying information so important or so powerful that they used a special code to keep it secret. That doesn't fit what we know about Anthony Ascom. Ascom was just an ordinary physician and scientist whose books didn't contain any original ideas. For instance, the little herbal mentioned in the reading was a description of common plants based on other well-known sources. So, given what we know about Ascom, his books, and the kind of knowledge he had, it seems unlikely he was the author of such an elaborately coded secret document. Second, although Edward Kelly was notoriously good at tricking people, it seems unlikely that he created the Voynich manuscript as a fake magical book to sell to some rich people. You see, the creator of the Voynich manuscript took a lot of care to make the text look like a real code. But people in the 16th century were quite easy to fool, so it was not necessary to make something this complex. If Kelly wanted to create a fake for money, there's no reason he would have put so much work into creating a manuscript like this, when a much simpler book would have suited his purpose just as well. Third, we've been able to date the manuscript materials using modern methods. Both the vellum pages and the ink on the pages, both the vellum and the ink are at least 400 years old. That rules out Voynich as the author. If Voynich wanted to create a fake, maybe he could use vellum pages taken from some old manuscripts. But where would he get 400-year-old ink? So, it seems the manuscript was created centuries before Voynich obtained it.
Okay, perfect notes, right? Yeah, so this should be on your desk when you go to the TOEFL test, your completed reading and listening notes, okay? And you're looking at these notes and you need to type the perfect answer to complete your integrated writing task, which I'll show you in a second through analyzing the model essay, okay? So I'll pull up a model essay on the right-hand side and I'll leave the notes on the left so we can see how perfectly written notes have become this model answer. Okay, so see you in 2 seconds. Let me pull up the model answer. All right, let's finish this, guys. So we made the perfect notes on reading on the left here and listening on the right here. Okay, and this is the model essay. We should be able to write to get the perfect score on this task. Okay. All right. So both reading and listening passages are dealing with the origin of the Voynich script. Okay. So first sentence. So always 3 sentences introduction paragraph if we can. Okay. So you could use this as one of the templates, okay? So both passages, reading and listening passages are dealing with the topic of the discussion. So topic of the discussion was, origin of the Voynich manuscript, right? Okay, So both passage, reading and listening, are dealing with which topic? First sentence. And next sentence, the reading proposes three people as the probable author of the manuscript. Okay, so that's the thesis of the reading introduction, right? Okay, there are three possible authors to, there are three possible authors who, could have created the Voynich manuscript, right? So write that down. Second sentence. Third sentence, however, listening thesis, okay? The listening states none of the proposed people as author in the reading was probably the author, okay? So listening just disagrees against the reading's thesis statement. So three-sentence structure. Okay, so first sentence, both reading and listening are dealing with this topic. Reading claims this. Listening does not think reading is right. Okay, three-sentence structure. So that's done. So first body, we'll cover the listening part first. And then we'll just write down the topic sentence and the detail as a whole, as one, into one sentence, preferably, okay? So first, direct sentence. First, the lecturer in the listening claims that, so you could use this as a template, okay? So content is Anthony Askham is not likely the author of the manuscript. So topic sentence done. Two details. Askham was an ordinary physician who did not have any original ideas in his book. So major detail, detail one covered. And for example, this is detail two. So we'll write down detail one, detail two to get the perfect score. So for example, A Little Herbal, his book was a description of common plants based on other sources, okay? From other sources. So detail two, covered. So covered in full sentence. Perfect. And then we have like a bridge sentence, as I like to call it, or the template to start the reading part. So of course, this is all listening part. Okay. And this is a bridge sentence, as I call it, template to move to the reading part. Anthony Askham, so we're going to summarize the reading part. Anthony Askham was a possible author because plant illustration in Voynich manuscript is similar to his book. Okay, right? So Anthony Askham was a possible author since many plant illustration in the Voynich manuscript were similar to those. So those plant illustration in Askham's book. So perfect. Okay, so topic sentence and summarize the detail as the whole one thing in the reading. Okay, so we want to be a little bit more elaborate in the listening part. We want to have topic sentence and two details. And the reading part, we want to have topic sentence and the detail as a whole thing. So first body, perfectly done. Second body. Sorry, let me just scroll down like this. So we're going to write Edward Kelly was not the author. So second, the lecturer argues that, maybe you can use that as a template. Edward Kelly doesn't seem to be the author of the Voynich manuscript. So we're going to put this into one and this into one, okay? The creator of the manuscript put a lot of effort, great care, paraphrased, to make the text look like a real code. However, Kelly had no reason to put so much effort, as much as simpler books could have still fooled people for him to make money. Okay, so I summarized this part and this part into these two sentences. Okay, so that's topic sentence done. The creator of the manuscript put a lot of effort to make the text look like a real code. However, Kelly had no reason to do that. Much easier, much simpler book could have still served his purpose of fooling people to make money. Okay, so bit of paraphrased. However, Kelly had no reason to put so much effort, as much simpler books could have still fooled people for him to make money. Okay. And another template you can use on your way to covering the reading passage. So reading passage thesis is the Voynich manuscript is a fake book without any meaning. Okay, that is created by Edward Kelly. And he may created this book to sell to wealthy people to make money. Okay, so let's have a look at the sentence. This opposes the reading's claim that, and then here comes the reading part. The manuscript is a fake book written by Edward Kelly, who pretended he had magical power to take money from nobles. Okay. So topic sentence and the detail as a whole into a one sentence, if you could. That's a recipe for my success. Okay. I mean, you could have written two sentences here. Okay. In correct, accurate grammar, that's fine. But if I can, I like to write the reading summary into one sentence, if I can, when I can, okay? To make it a little shorter and concise. Because the listening is the main part, as the question implies. All right, so second body is perfectly done. And third body, third lecture states that Voynich cannot be the author since they dated vellum and the ink of the manuscript, right? So that's the topic sentence done. Maybe you could use this as a template. Both the vellum and ink are at least 400 years old. So what? However, there's no way for him to get 400 years old ink. Therefore, it seems the manuscript was created centuries before he acquired the document. Okay, so I like to write in 3 sentences, but sometimes, you could have 4 sentences listening summary, be prepared to be flexible, okay? You don't have to do it exactly the same way all the time. It's preferable because you kind of have a structure you can rely on, but contents are the most important thing. If you write information, then you get the full score. So I purposely wrote in 4 sentences to show you. It will be preferable you have some kind of structure you can rely on. It will be nice, right? So you always finish in 3 sentences, but it would depend on the passage, we're given, right? Passages we're given with, right? It could be 3 sentences, it could be 4 sentences, as long as we get the right information. The contents are accurate. Okay, so that's topic sentence in 2 sentences. And that's detail 1 in our notes here. And this is, sorry. I cooked that one. Oops. Okay, so that's topic sentence, detail 1, and detail 2. So it must been created centuries before. Okay, he got the document. And that's another template. Switching to the reading part. This refutes the readings claim that. And then we need to have the reading summary, which is, it may be a modern fake by Voynich himself because he had a knowledge to be able to create this book. Okay. So the readings topic sentence. The manuscript is modern fake created by Voynich himself, as he had enough knowledge of old manuscript to create one. And perhaps he wanted to, sell it. Okay, so I use and to make into a nice one sentence with the correct grammar, but, you could have written in 2 sentences, even though it's a reading part, it's okay. Okay? Yeah, so there you have it. Perfect, okay? Maybe a bit of waste of your time, but, let me kind of read the whole essay, right? Both reading and listening passages are dealing with the origin of the Voynich manuscript. The reading proposes 3 people as the probable author of the manuscript. However, the listening states none of the proposed people was probably the author. First, lecturer. Let me just scroll this down. Okay. First, the lecturer in the listening claims that Anthony Askham is not likely the author. Askham was an ordinary physician who did not have any original ideas in his book. For example, in his book, Little Herbal, it was nothing more than a description of common plants from other sources. This rebuts the reading's claim that Anthony Askham was a possible author, since many plant illustrations in the Voynich manuscript were similar to those in Askham's book. Done. Next body. Second, the lecturer argues that Edward Kelly doesn't seem to be the author. Why? The creator of the manuscript put a lot of effort to make the text look like a real code. However, Kelly had no reason to put so much effort. As much simpler book could have still fooled people for him to make money from nobles. Listening part done. Moving on to the reading part. This opposes the reading's claim that, what's the reading's claim? The manuscript is a fake book written by Edward Kelly, who pretended he had magical powers to take money from nobles. Last body. Third, the lecturer states that Voynich cannot be the author. Both the vellum and ink are at least 400 years old. So you could have, as I said, made this into one sentence, right? Something like, third, the lecturer states that Voynich cannot be the author, considering that the vellum and ink are at least 400 years old. Exactly the same thing, right? However, there is no way for him to get 400-year-old ink, detail 1, detail 2. Therefore, it seems the manuscript was created centuries before the Voynich acquired the document. Okay? Bridge to the reading. This refutes the reading's claim that the manuscript is a modern fake created by Voynich himself, as he had enough knowledge of old manuscripts to create a fake book, and perhaps he had the plan to sell it. Yeah, so maybe I shouldn't have read the whole essay again to save your time, but I just wanted to emphasize and help you more and make sure of it. Okay, so there you have it. Another pretty good, I think, ideal lesson to cover the integrated writing. And that's it for another lesson. Thank you very much for watching this video till the end, and I hope you find this useful, and I'll see you very soon in my next video. Thank you, guys. Have a great day. Bye.